Okay then. Okay. This is tonic spell. Tonic spell with milk. Dun dun dun. That actually tastes really nice. Huh. Expected it to taste a lot worse. I even had a bottle of Coke prepared to glug down the moment I go to it. But no, that's actually really nice. Huh. That kind of ruins the humour I wanted to start this episode with. Anyway, welcome everyone! Souldin of the Grin brothers here, and it's time for another episode of Tea Time. I was trying to sort of start things off with a humorous little spit take there, but turns out I liked it. Maybe people, like, pretend to spit take or such with these scenes, or, plan these things out. Or don't plan these things out. In any case, I've just talked to you about news for my previous two times. And the other third one I had was going to be like a miscellaneous news thing, like the rumours of Overlord sort of getting a new entry, which is, again, brilliant timing given we just played Overlord recently. In fact, this has happened with a lot of our games on Grin Brothers. We played Little Big Planet 2 and Little Big Planet 3 was announced. We played Overlord and there's a rumour of another Overlord game coming about. Yeesh. Incredible. If I play Kirby games, will we actually get Kirby games coming out? Other than Kirby and the Rainbow Curse or Rainbow Paintbrush, which is a Kirby game I'm not a big fan of, at least of Power Paintbrush for the DS. In any case, off topic for a topic that I haven't even brought up yet. I was going to talk about various bits of news. The Overlord rumour, Rodeo the Sky Soldier coming out for Wii U and 3DS and Wii. Looks awesome, by the way. Looking forward to that game. But instead I thought, I've already talked about news quite a bit. So instead I wanted to think of a different idea for an article. My previous idea I once had was to celebrate a infamous Second Son being the only or generally considered worthwhile exclusive for the PS4 day. But that's past now. That was a brilliant day though. I wonder if it will be the case next year, that it'll follow suit. Hopefully, like Bloodborne and such, will live up to that promise, unlike Order 86. So, seriously, I'm not sure how the PS4 has managed to sell so well. Seriously, that is really confusing. Any case, but instead I thought, well, I've started actually playing some games of this generation, of which I'm going to count as this generation because they released this year for the UK officially release. Because one of these games I'm going to count is Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, and as I said in my top 6 most anticipated games of 2015, because its official release date is 2nd of January for UK, that's what I'm counting it as. But the 3 games I've played of this gen so far are Dead or Alive 5 Last Round, Ori and the Blind Forest, and Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. Of these games, Dead or Alive 5 Last Round was the first one I've played. Oh gosh, that's gone. Okay, problem with my tea, it's gone a bit cold. That's the one problem. Dead or Alive 5 Last Round started off with Mania. The game took ages to download and seemed to download each and every character individually. I thought I was downloading the Dead or Alive core thing instead. But it wasn't a case of downloading, that was just a disc getting ready. I don't understand that. Why do discs need to prepare themselves nowadays? Gaming has gone so confusing. In any case, it took ages to do that. As you know, there are bugs with the game at launch, which apparently I found out that the Versus mode, you can stop the bugs by turning off throwdowns. Then after that, they said this, like, if you've lost any data between the transition, you can sort of unlock things by pressing all the shoulder buttons together. And I thought, well, I don't think I've missed anything, though I was supposed to have some season, DLC because I pre-ordered the game. I was going to have a nice video showing Rafi trying to explain how the hula hoop flower necklace thing seems to gravitate in such a way that the game doesn't go over 18 immediately, and it makes no sense. In any case, I didn't have that stuff. So I thought, okay, I'll see what happens when I press these shoulder buttons. And it unlocks everything. Every single thing in the game, every story mode and everything. You ruin the joy of unlocking things with that. I had to delete all my data, which I delete once the save file, which when I clicked back on the game, because the stupid Xbox One cloud out, it made it restore the data, so I had to delete the cloud data of that data and restart unlocking things. I'd finally finished Elliot's training campaign, and Elliot's training thing is an ass to play. They made Elliot have some really annoying combos for me to try and use. It's kind of cemented that I'm going to stick more of a Hitomi player, Elliot being my second. I am enjoying playing as Marie Rose quite a bit. I'm finding Kokoro's going a lot easier to play. I found her pretty hard to play as and tricky to play as in Dead or Alive 4 and Dead or Alive Dimensions, but I'm actually finding her pretty easy in Dead or Alive 5 last round. As I said, Marie's quite fun to play, though rather tricky, sort of, very, very different sort of character than I'm used to. And Leon's always a ton of fun, because Leon's very simple. Just hit things very hard. Your best combo your longest combo is only 3 hits. It is brilliant. In any case, I've really enjoyed the game itself. It's got some brilliant training menus, which you can skip certain training segments if they're, make no sense or just frustrating. The story mode I've yet to get round to, but I'm going to enjoy it because I have my expectations well in check for it being cheesy and attempting to be serious and whatnot. It's Dead or Alive. It doesn't do serious very well. But I had a lot of bad experiences in terms of the bugs of the game and such, and it's like, well, this puts this generation at a good start. But I had a completely different story of Captain Toad Treasure Tracker, because while the game's only it's pretty good, but not super incredible, well, the game works flawlessly. It has a brilliant way of opening up the sort of world. Everything about it is adorable. There's this one Shy Guy Maze stealth section, which immediately made me think of Legend of Zelda, Ocarina of Time. You know the section. The game looks beautiful, the game sounds beautiful, the controls are sometimes a bit funny, but I have a spinny chair with me. Whee! Spinny office chair allows me to play the game brilliantly, because when using the gyroscope, I just spin round on it. And it works really well with actually playing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. The puzzles are a lot of fun, the secret extra things are a lot of fun, and I love the rail shooting segments. I want a whole game just based off rail shooting segments. I'll tell you now, I'm a big fan of arcade light gun games. House of the Dead and Time Splitters and all that. So much fun. But yeah, Captain Toad Treasure Tracker works flawlessly. It's not a game that I want to sort of play in sort of huge stretches of time because, I'm constantly have to spin around on the chair sort of thing, using the gyroscope controls. It's a little bit tiring, as it were, and isn't able to keep the sort of interest for huge amounts of time, but all of it's really well designed, and it's a lot of fun, and there's a lot more content than people were sort of saying, but that could be the case because I've got Super Mario 3D World. I've unlocked lots of bonus stages, which are really cool. Getting all the diamonds isn't as sort of straightforward as you might imagine. And all the sort of extra sort of check missions and such. It does a lot with a small concept. And I think it deserves a lot more praise and I feel a lot more attention, as it were. And for the third game, Ori and the Blind Forest. As you may know, this is my most anticipated game of 2015. It so far hasn't disappointed. It is absolutely incredible. Screw you, opening! That was not good! That was not good to open things up with. You had me almost in tears at the opening cutscene. And it's not even really an opening cutscene per se, because you actually get to do stuff during that time as well. But it's an incredible game. It's gorgeous. It sounds brilliant. The controls work brilliantly. The game is evil. They expect you to die a ton, and they actually keep a record of you dying. It's unfortunately reminds me of a big reason why I'm not a big fan of non-linear games, and that there's a couple of times when I've gone stuck in a segment, gone the wrong way, and missed out on something I could have gone, but can't get back there until much later. And stuff like the dungeons, like in the Ginzo tree, the first dungeon, I sort of just done through. I'm just about to go into the second dungeon. Been ill a few days, so I haven't really played it huge amount recently. But as a result, I missed like one thing in the dungeon. You can't get back when you've cleared a dungeon. That is really frustrating. Otherwise, in terms, the game is brilliant in of itself. Though I will admit that, you know, one of the things that negates my entire enjoyment is I'm not huge a fan of the genre. But otherwise, there's a good reason why it was my most anticipated game. Whether it will end up becoming one of my more favoured games, at the moment, my favourite game of this current generation still stands as Child of Light, which is about, I'd say, 15th favourite video game of all time. Whether it can sort of like get there, don't know. I'll see how things go once I've completed the game. However, I'd probably rank it at sort of well within sort of top 50 favourite games of all time, because it's beautiful, it sounds incredible. Oh, the controls work brilliantly. The skill tree's really nicely done and have some great benefits. The skill upgrades are, they give you huge things. And the combat, I mean, I wasn't even really aware of the combat of the game before I even got it. The combat's incredible. I feel a couple of people have complained how at the start your combat isn't quite as enjoyable, and I can admit it can be very frustrating at the start. Ori is a very frail character throughout, but thankfully I've unlocked the skill tree in such a way where I'm able to explore almost everywhere, and so I've unlocked the majority of life orbs. I've just spent my time getting extra life points and getting the skill tree in such a way where I've increased my defense. So I no longer feel nearly as frail, but there's a lot of sort of, you will die. The game is not kind to you in that respect. You will have a lovely time, but you will die. But those are my 3 sort of first games of 2015. It's a little disappointing how Dead or Alive had such a bad start to it. But thankfully, the game itself is just as enjoyable as I remember it being, and I feel it was really well polished in terms of its gameplay aspect and all that. Captain Toad Treasure Tracker is charming and enjoyable, but not the sort of experience I feel I can play for long amounts of time, but one I'm willing to go back to and enjoy, and one of which there's a lot of reasons to go back to and enjoy, and a lot more content than people expect than I feel people have suggested. And Ori and the Blind Forest is simply amazing, brutal but amazing. So yeah. I think the next game I'll probably end up playing of this generation will probably be Adventure Bar Story, because that's a game I'm looking forward to downloading. Circle are cruel people. I've still not even played the last game I downloaded of them because I haven't had time to. I mean, there's plenty of games I haven't even gotten time to play from last year. I've got a Fantasy Life and Bayonetta 1 and 2 that I want to actually get round to playing at some point. Until then, though, I'll keep on sticking with Ori and the Blind Forest and such. For now, though, I've been having a good time of 2015, and tell me what your experiences with video games of 2015 have been like. Hopefully they've been good ones. For now, cheerio!